What's popular, YouTube? Another day, another demo, and today we're gonna watch Try. If you guys saw it, we're gonna have to rename this kid to succeed. This guy was so nuts. He's an Argentinian player for 9Z, the guy that everybody and every single day in chat before the Blast Showdown was coming in here talking about, DMing me. People were DMing me constantly. Hey, you gotta watch 9Z, pay attention to 9Z, and watch Try, okay? Try is the guy to watch. Born in 2004, he's 16. He was the youngest player at Blast Showdown, a year younger than Flames, a high sense opper here, and ops on 1280 by 960. And again, I mean, this is a player. The really cool story here is that we go over to Try's page, and Mr. Santino, which I heard means little saint, has never had no maps on record versus, I think, a top 20 team until this tournament. Alliteration. He played against Vitality and Heroic, which are basically the two best teams that he's ever played against in officials. Okay? After flying overseas to boot camp with 9Z to play in the Blast Showdown, which they qualified to, which is an incredible story in and of itself. And yeah, they came 5th to 8th after losing their second series. But he played 5 maps, had a 1.33 rating, plus 24 KD, and look at his stats over the course of these 5 maps. He's not new to the team, so sometimes we talk about individuals coming onto rosters, talk about their debut. In some way, this was a debut, because this was all of his stats, basically, playing in these first 5 maps. And the amount of impact he had, I mean, it was way more. I mean, these ratings are even barely negative, even in the 2 games they lost. But this was just unbelievable levels of consistency. And this is versus Vitality and Heroic. This kid is 16 years old. He out-opt ZywOo multiple times. Was a reason that ZywOo definitely had a negative rating in the one series they played. They got knocked out of the showdown. He was incredibly promising. Okay, Honda was also, as a new guy or whatever, playing at the level. Even though he was like, it's not the same thing because he was more of a stand-in for the tournament to try, like, as part of the team. You know, Honda had 2 aces in his series and still had like 60 ADR over the course of the series. Try almost aced Vitality twice on Nuke alone and did ace them once, and then almost got a Deagle ace as well, on top of clearly having such an unbelievable level of impact for somebody. I haven't seen someone do this at this level, and I really don't know if I've ever seen it. For someone who's this young to come on this level for their first time and do this, I'm kind of I was taken aback by this one. So we're gonna watch Overpass versus Vitality, the official top frag. I think on Nuke it was even more impressive in the second half, but they ended up losing the game. Whatever. We'll skip over that, but let's talk about Overpass. Talk about CT opping on Overpass, and yeah, you got to say this was one of the most awesome stories that come out of the Blast Showdown. And the great part about the Blast Showdown is seeing, new talent come through and play up against some of the top tier teams that are coming down from the spring series or the fall series, right? So a rare chance to see this. We wouldn't have seen Try play at this level if not for the format. So that part is really cool. 150 ADR on the CT side of Overpass, 18-7. Him and Max were both really extraordinary players, in my opinion, across the series. Max, especially here on Overpass CT side, I want to give him a lot of credit. There were moments where I felt like they weren't building amazing connections all the time on the CT side, and we'll talk about that. But Max, when Try wasn't around to help him, Max did a fantastic job of being that rifle support in bathrooms and oftentimes carried the rounds. So they had a really, really easy time on CT side Overpass. So let's waste no more time. Let's get into it. Let's watch this this Try demo and see see how it was done. And we're going to watch from his POV, of course, which is cool. And every day I get somebody new asking how to watch the demos like I watch them. Every day. Even Kadian DM'd me last week asking how I watch the demos. Guys, in the description of every single YouTube video, including this one, there is a link to a video that explains how to watch. No way they threw the knife round. Masuda knifes his teammate. Wow, the disrespect. And then they lose the map. Try in every single description of every single video, there is a link to a explainer for how to watch fake POV demos or POV demos with the red whatever, with the red kill feed, and make it feel like you're watching it, and you put on their settings yourself and everything like that. And then you too can be a Chad demo enjoyer. Like all of us. So what is opping and what is CT side overpass? CT side and T side overpass are both very fluid position, like they're both very fluid. Okay, I'll say, especially when it comes to opping. When we're talking about opping on T side, there's a very friendly map to T side opping. It's always a little bit easier to op on CT sides in general, but there's a lot of options for you to take. And on CT sides, options are even greater. Okay, Try's going to hear a few. Let's see how he deals with this. He doesn't get a single kill. He hears 3 early. So he talked about this before. It's a very natural rotation once you take a peek at mid to go and try to get into the behind the potted plants on long and hold there while your teammates fight from the site. And the whole reason you do this is so that your teammates who are fighting from the site can watch bathrooms and can support you at long from a distance while you, number one, get information early if they are throwing nades. Get nice and close and create a situation where they have to fight you to pass. And also, anytime you're pushed up on any map, you open yourself up to different things. For example, a faster rotation or a way to get information. So if he turns the corner and there's no one at long, he can clear that out and guarantee and tell his team and clear it out. And then he can come top bathrooms. He can come downstairs. There's a lot of benefits all the time to being aggressive on CT side. Overpass, if there's any map that was built specifically so that you push, so that you take map control, and so that you hold very deep angles in what look like exposed positions, this is the map. If there was one map, this is the map that was made to encourage it. In your spawn zone, you're on the A site. When you look at the minimap, the amount of space that you have before you even see a terrorist is so much. And all of that space is intended to be used. There's a great shot from Try with a scout watching Long Hill Spot 2. But we see when you are threatened on Overpass on one part or another, you squeeze. Okay, so usually there is this symbiotic relationship between the guy with the scope farther back and then the guy with the rifle. And you're trying to create a connection. That's why I always want to call it a connection. Okay, so Try needs to be supporting Max. There's a couple of times in this game where I feel like Try was always called to rotate over, or like Max was kind of left on his own, and Max did a fantastic job. But, there should always be a situation where an opper can kind of, like a guardian angel, watch over top of you wherever you're standing and spot someone far away, while your rifler is protected from one side because everything is very exposed on A side Overpass, and they can watch one angle and you cover the other one with your op. And you guys are consistently in flux between watching long, watching bathrooms, but also trying to stay as connected as possible, if that makes sense. So that's what we're going to see between Try and Max in this demo. And we've already seen a scout round where it kind of exemplifies that connection building, but I think now we're going to get an op. So, okay, here's another thing. There's other options. So, all right, this is a very basic tip, but if you're going to go pick long B, you jump out of the heavens as opposed to run around the other side. Sometimes I see people do that. I think that's something to notice. Just in terms of timing, if you're going to go for this pick, you always jump out of heaven. You don't run around through CT spawn, which I think some people do. Okay, we go for that kill. Max is alone here, and for this reason, I think the setup's a little bit iffy. I think in this position, I was quite surprised to see where Max was playing. I think he was pushed up around tree and died or whatever, but there was no support for him in this position. And I'm not putting this on Try or anyone. Maybe Max wanted to be there. Maybe the IGL said to be there. Maybe Try was supposed to come right back but didn't. I don't know who's at fault when some of these situations happen. But there's a position where a player dies. There's no connection between the rifler and the opper. And there's no compensation at all. Right now, the map is very dark and very small for 9Z. They lose a lot of space here. So what do? They squeeze. We got 2 players pushed up bathrooms. Try is going to rotate around to B, and for now, this is a very good hit from Vitality to put pressure on this part of the map now. They caused a lot of disturbance on the A site. They caused the rotations to come through, and then they hit the other part of the map. What else could you want? So here's a losing position for 9Z, and I can't remember what happens in a lot of these rounds, so we'll see if they get out of this. A great shot off of a Molotov, and I think that Molotov did not land on Zywoo. If I remember correctly, it didn't. But he goes for the peek because he's probably a little bit worried it spreads. He gets punished for it. And here Try's going very slowly. I remember, oh my god. He's literally waiting for his teammate to reload before he peeks this. He just does not want to be the second player to die. Or the first player to die. DGT eventually gets the kill. He put him to work there. But he lived, he saved the op. And as long as Apex knows that he's got to be worried about this other target, it's not in Try's best interest to go and die first. If he dies first, his teammate in heaven's in jeopardy. So it's hard to say sometimes who's the better person to trade, especially when Try is coming in with the op like that. But I think it worked out just fine, so we don't have to talk about it. Op is coming out for the A pick now, and of course, we're talking about timings we're watching here. They could be coming up the left side wall, so Try's got to get back off those flashes. And now we're looking for this tether between him and Blue, which is Max. And his rifler, you know, if you're playing a pug or something like that, you got to be watching what they're watching. Sometimes on the mini map, if you're playing a match, you've got this stuff talked about before the match starts. But if you're just playing with friends, people you don't know that well, you've got to be thinking about what they're watching, and it gives you escape routes. So let's say here, for example, okay, if Max is not watching the outside of bathrooms, then Try doesn't have a way back into the site safely. So that's why it's really important to not just have your opera out here with all these options and just kind of peeking every single thing. You've got to have the ability for him to fall back in this position. You've got to, you know, Max needs to be alert when the right opera needs to take a new position. And a lot of times, your rifler is going to be forward-facing, looking for a duel when you're in some of these positions, floating around the bathrooms or whatever. And now we've got the transition. It looked like the transition was about to begin into that long setup where we saw Try on the pistol. But now there's pressure on B, so they're going to go over towards this site. I don't know if there's anything to be had here. I think it's a situation where you probably save. In 2021, okay, in 2017, you might go for this. 2021, you don't go for this anymore. These, 3v5 retakes are just not, it's too important to keep onto these guns. So, all right. 5 runs deep. A lot of instructive moments already. And we've seen some variety in terms of what Try goes for with his opening duels. And here he wasn't actually spotted on that, so he's going to try again. And he hits a lot of damage off. 80 damage off on a leg. Very fast shot, of course, which is also the charm of watching Try. Some of these moments are just going to be highlight moments with his opping, where it was very good. Holding crosshair nice and wide for this angle, because if someone peeks off a flash, they're going to swing very wide. No one shoulder peeks this. It's also, the farther away someone is, the harder it is to judge the shoulder peek from their perspective. Okay, Masuda grabs one. I think there's another player legged, and RPK finally trades, and there was one outside at long, and that was Try is out here. Oh my god, Try's just flipping through the perspectives trying to get information. And when we watch these demos, we can see what Try is watching. So I'm not myself changing perspectives here. This is what Try is doing. He's clicking every single time. And this demo of yours, HLE ETH, that was created by Dominic Tugend. He created this, and this is the way that they caught the coaching, the coaches who cheated. because the demo information here showed what the coaches were doing, what people are spectating. So they're able to see what the coaches were spectating via HLAE, which is interesting. So this is why, all the data's here, and this is why we can see what Try is looking at right now. Kind of wildly flipping between a bunch of his teammates. Okay. This is an uncomfortable situation. They're low on grenades. Ooh, a very nice peek by Bit. And now they made waves. Yeah, they're very on for the retake. Someone could stick this for sure. Easter, I believe Easter was the stand-in for this game, and an incredible stand-in, especially, I think, on Inferno. I feel like he impressed the most. All right, another pick. So we've seen, basically, he's been spotted. He's shown presence on all parts of the map now. He's gone for the monster pick. He's gone for the A pick a couple of times. The first time the A pick, he didn't shoot at all, so he wasn't spotted, went back. And now we're opping out of stairs. It's another important play to watch if you're looking to learn how to op CT side overpass, because you need an escape route, okay? Max is the bodyguard holding down long right now. And also, but right now, Max can't actually cover him to rotate around. So this rotation is quite long. And someone from the B site has to go through, and Try is going to be late, okay? So you see how this squeeze works? It's very intuitive. If Max is stuck there in the stairs, he doesn't come up the stairs if Try is stuck there in the stairs, he doesn't come up the stairs to go fight with Max if someone could peek him from balloons or someone could peek him from mid. If Max is unsafe in that position and at the top of bathrooms and there's players long splitting A and Try can't rotate, he shouldn't. He shouldn't try to leave and go through bathrooms to A. Instead, he should go downstairs, out towards B. And when you push down for a stairs pick, your teammates should push out for short control, or at least throw nades for you so that you do have an escape option. But you don't go stairs unless you have your rifler watching something in the bathrooms for you, listening for long, watching, or unless you have short B control. So you at least have one way or the other to go out. But you're not trying to fight your way out on both sides. And yeah, I want to say that for the most part, it's not like too difficult. I think for for you to find openings, for you to be very creative, for you to be very fluid and mobile. If you're a pretty antsy, impatient player on Overpass, CT side, to find opening duels. And then, okay, so here is another like setup that you can use, and this is super valid. Of course, Max is very low as well, so unless they nade him, you can get one gimmick kill. It's a very good low HP position to be in, and jump spotting is also super smart, super normal. Sometimes you will die jump spotting dice. It's pretty risky because you can, when you're clearing dice from outside the stairs and you're clearing this angle, you have nothing to look at except for the top of dice. So as I talked about, Max had a fantastic half. Just so much output from him. And now Try falls back, and he basically doesn't miss. Like, people don't spend too much time on Try screen without him getting damage or a kill. Almost every time. It really did feel like simple and electronic this game, where even though Max had the game of his life with the rifle, Try still outperformed him kill-wise with the AWP. So now we have this short B hold with this op. Max is all alone here on the A site. It's actually insane how many times they've left him. But one of the calls could be that they've had way more success over on B. That is Vitality. And Max has also been an absolute terror on the A sites. Basically, even without help, I mean, this guy's now switching to their guns to kill them with. Oh, and a cool supporting flash. A second one here for Try. And so he's there not only in spirit, but literally with these flash assists as well. Nobody there for Max to kill, but now the round is all over. It all comes down to him. And they basically take turns owning on the A site, which is huge. Missed one kill there. I think this is a redundant angle to watch because... Oh, Max is on the outside of bathrooms. I can't tell from the... Oh, frick me. I just, like, immediately skipped through that. Okay. It's a full house between the two of them. He's not going to look for the timing grenade. In terms of utility, we haven't seen anything too interesting. They haven't really pushed 9Z to the limit yet, for the most part. Again, they have the problem of not being able to trade this AUG in Max's hands. And yeah, so here's another position where, honestly, if Max was having a worse day, he would have got traded out and 9Z would have had a way harder time. Because a lot of these rounds, I'm not really seeing that connection between him and Try that, you know, allow... It's one of those things, it's like a house of cards, okay? When the house of cards is fully built, it's just, you know, it's a beautiful feat, right? But if you pull one of the cards out, the whole thing falls, and that should be how it works when you have an A site setup with two people floating and they're covering all these different positions. When you kill one of them, the second guy is order of magnitudes easier to kill, because not only do they lose their teammate who was covering something for them, but now they normally don't have an escape route or whatever. So in my opinion, in some of the rounds that we're watching, we don't get to see what Vitality could have done because they simply couldn't trade Max, or they couldn't get one half of the setup out, even when Max was completely alone. Like, if we're watching the demo back and we're... Ooh, that's a nice shot. If we're watching the demo back and we're Apex, and then we go through Vitality's T side and why they lost this game, they're going to look at this player alone without an AWP helping him, Max, sitting in the bathrooms, and think, yes, we should have won this round because Max was alone. There's no excuse. You have to trade that kill. And if it doesn't work, you should try it again. And so far, Vitality have found him alone multiple times. They just could never kill him. I think a few times now, they never even eventually traded him. He always either got 2 kills and lived or 3 kills and lived. Okay, now we're a bit closer together. So here, in some way, I would say Try is almost supporting Max, okay? So because Max is actually the one with the very deep angle down to the base of T steps, he's out here watching this. He's getting the info very early, all that stuff. But his position is in jeopardy if they come up the stairs, or they need to know. He needs to know that. So he can only hold a certain amount of angles up here if Try isn't here in the stairs watching below the stairs. Now, with this setup, you have an unbelievable amount of control. You have the stairs rotation. Anybody who crosses in front of the doorway gets killed going to short B. You have fast rotations from from stairs to B if you're Max or Try. And yeah, if they come A or if they come stairs, you probably get kills. Of course, high volatility positions in the sense that if one of you dies, it's hard to escape. But it pays off most of the time on Overpass to try to pull off setups like this. So here, Max is spotting his mid fall back, but he was already pushed up, so he doesn't even have to watch it. In a situation where Max wasn't peeking early for information, he would have had to make sure that no one could balloons peek, Try on his way out of stairs just for a second, throw a nade down for him, but he had got that info nice and early. So now what happens? They're successful with the opening setup. They've successfully extracted their AWPer. They got their kills, and now they don't really need anything else. Literally, you know, Try can basically do no wrong. If he sets himself up to get 1 kill, that's more than good enough. And usually they've walked into him late. I don't know if this is going to be a situation where I skip through this by accident. Okay, the exec is coming. And maybe potential for a bomb plant. They trade blows through the dice box. And Saiwu reads him, wraps around the outside. Puts his teammate in a retake position. And there's 2 left. I believe Saiwu got tagged through the dice. And yeah, he'll get traded. That was very close. They did not know that he went out to long. That was quite tricky, but not good enough. They're pre-flashing A. I think this is for a peek for Max. I don't know if he's going to cross out or if he's just going to look down. Yeah. No, we've got no, like, Fur-esque, you know, SK fountain control takes here for 9Z. And to be honest, most teams aren't doing that anymore at all. Just because I guess of just how crazy it gets. I mean, once in a while you see it, but it's just not as common, I guess, as it used to be, or as, you know, as popular as it was back when you know, Rain used to do it on FaZe with FaZe, and Fur used to do it just relentlessly, countless times. So here's another connection builder. So right there a moment ago, Try is watching the outside of bathrooms. And as soon as you watch the outside of bathrooms, suddenly Max can stand in divider and look towards the inside of bathrooms and not even have to watch the outside for any walk-ups or anything. Okay? So now when you do this and you create these connections, you open up positions that people will not clear. Because why would you clear that spot when that guy could get flanked or would easily die normally? But if they don't know who's covering something for someone, then you open yourself up to a new world of possibilities in these kind of two-player setups. Now here, I'm actually not a huge fan. Once again, it's a position where, okay, Max knows he's been pretty successful, but the communication of who's watching what, in my opinion, most of the time, you should be trying to cover one half of A simultaneously. Okay, Max is actually pretty safe. Sorry, I thought Max was inside divider here, but this is obviously a very common spot. So this is something similar to the long setup. If Try is standing on the outside, watching the outside of bathrooms, if Max is pushed up long, Max doesn't have to watch long all the time because he's got this very nice piece of cover to sit in the corner of. So here, he can leave Max, and look, he never has to worry about the outside of bathrooms. Max is still here, and oh my god, Try, he doesn't stop. He actually flips around to watch the long play, and Max has him covered, and that is it. The symbiotic relationship between Max and Try at its maximum, where you have both players just popping off. I mean, incredible shots, but also off of very competent setups. And there was more potential there. I mean, even if Try died, Max was in a position to get two if they forgot about him. And it was full trust. You saw that when he got that second to last kill, then turned around, was he just, he fell back into Max's arms and said, I believe in you. You've got me covered. You've got my back. Like State Farm or whatever. No free brand deals, though. They're not paying me $1. Oh, one whiff of the game here for a Try. And you see this? Again, it's just about covering what the other player's not watching, switching fluidly, and just having the other team having the other team guess as to what you're watching and what you're changing. Always awkward when you hear the toilet flush in the middle of the round. Tense moment. I mean, this is not a comfortable spot. You're actually thinking about winning here if you're an 9Z, which is just so unbelievable at this moment. But you're also dominating them, and you're wondering what the hell? ZywOo's on the other team. This is Vitality. This is the biggest event we've ever played in. Why is this happening? And now, because of just how powerful they've been over on the A sites, they just overstack. And I think this is where teams gamble, and it makes the most sense. If you're an IGL in certain situations, this is conditioning, right? If the other team is terrified of you in certain spots, you should be, taking a risk sometimes and gambling over to one half of the map. That might be weaker, where the other team has found success. I think this is why if you have a lead, it's even easier to extend that lead than it would be if you're trying to come back into a game where the other team might be confident versus you. Because they've won the mental battle here, of kind of just completely shutting off the valve on one half of the whole map. But still, I mean, Vitality are smart. They're coming back to A. And, okay, here's the thing. Since now Vitality are coming back to A and 9Z went for a gamble stack on B, what happens is you've got a bit of congestion here, right? Not only are there players that are in the same spots now, they're all in rotator positions. You don't, number one, this is all the value of pushing up for information. Okay, number one, your B rotators are late because you didn't get the info early. If you're pushed up bathrooms, you're pushed up long, you would have been in way better spots. The other thing is, if your rifler, your operative Max, and if Try were pushed up in bathrooms at this moment, pushed outside of divider, the teammates who are rotating had enough time to rotate through CT spawn, and they would have had new spots in A that would be opened up. Instead, what do we have? We have overlap now of Try on DGT, and not only that, since the exec is coming in, there are even fewer spots in the A site because you can't counter the smokes. So now you have a position where there's congestion, there's confusion, and all the nades are designed for these positions. So it's almost already too late if you're 9Z. You need some heroic, basically Vitality have to mess this up bad, try max, whatever. DGT have to hit some insane shots right now, because these are the spots that Vitality, they know that once you're in these spots, it's already too late. You already gave up A control. You were wrong. We are going A again. We're coming onto the site. 40 seconds left. Nobody's fucked this up when we were throwing nades. We've cleared out divider. Max isn't there. We haven't seen an op yet. We should win. And they leave an opening. The flash is delayed, and Vitality are slow here. They finally get a late blind on try. They open it up for 2, though. So this has allowed 9Z to get back into the game. And now Vitality didn't have the best guns in the world, but this smoke, okay? Actually, this is actually a really cool smoke from Vitality. They threw this beside DGT, and RPK pushed into CT spawn. From his perspective, CT spawn is totally open. And this smoke is specifically for the truck players to have their vision obfuscated. And instead, you have a position where RPK is now open in CT, and there's a player on the truck watching the side of a truck, firing, like holding down the front of dice and the front of bathrooms, but he's actually just being distracted. He can't help Easter and the other rotators, and RPK is getting in their face right now. So this is a very nice, actually, eco strat from Vitality with a nice smoke involved. Oh, did DGT block? Oh, DGT blocked the smoke. Oh, okay. Did DGT block the CT smoke? Okay, I remember when I was casting and I was like, holy crap, did they design that? Oh, okay, so my mistake. It wasn't, it was Vitality smoke, but it wasn't, it was just RPK realizing he had an opportunity, but not something that they designed to push into CT spawn. Okay. I was like, man, I've never seen that before. When I was casting, I was like, wow, that was really cool if that was the case. Okay, my mistake. Still a very nice play from RPK to, like, you know, to use the smoke in that way. It's kind of funny. They blocked the smoke. I'm kind of surprised you can block it that badly, but that's obviously really effective. They opened up CT totally. Usually if you, for some reason, you know, no matter how light a smoke would actually be in real life, if you get in front of it, you stop it in the air, like in certain situations, it still keeps so much momentum. And, well, it's actually more so that it stops you. You don't really, like, bounce the smoke back. You kind of just stop in its place, but it's as if the smoke weighs more than you when it hits you. No idea for what's happening here, but the bomb is out over on the B side. Okay. And the hold comes in. Monster walkout, it gets crushed, and that's it. The game is over. Okay. That's actually a really good piece of a good piece of context. I didn't know that the smoke landed there, or that the smoke was blocked, and then it was our RPK to find that kind of opening. That was watch the Fallen video. I think he shows a new one that can't be blocked like that. Oh, okay. You can see that hold falls back for a second to block it. Okay. Gotcha. So that was obviously really good. I mean, Max was as much of a hero as Try, not only in this map, but in this game, in the series. I think in the first game, he didn't shine quite as much. He looked a bit uncomfortable on Nuke. But after Nuke, was like a brand new player. So I don't know how much Max liked Nuke, or if he was just a bit nervous the first map, but he got it together. Try was good all the way through, pretty much. And yeah, I mean, whenever someone was on his screen, they were dead. He was really fast. And yeah, I think there were times where the setups didn't look totally ironclad. There were definitely moments where there were openings. There were times where Vitality made a right call, but mechanically and individually, especially between Max and Try, they just couldn't trade them. They literally could not outskill them. And that was really one of the scariest parts about watching this from 9Z, is that like how good can they be? So this is a very, nice series from them. Unfortunately, why does Try not hold any angles for more than 3 seconds? He's 16 years old. How can you hold an angle for more than 3 seconds when you're 16 years old? Got things to do. Everything is the end of the world when you're 16 years old. So you got to keep it moving. But yeah, Overpass is perfect for that. Overpass is perfect for that. You have tons of options to move around a lot. I mean, watch Simple play. He rotates like crazy. Definitely the most rotates in a game you'll ever see. It's Simple. But he had a good game sense about things. There wasn't many nades involved with what we saw from Try. There wasn't too much there. It was just literally being in a good spot, covering his teammate, trusting his teammate, really high skill, some nice flicks being hit. Yeah, super talented player. And this was just Overpass. Nuke was also crazy, and Inferno as well. So yeah, hope you enjoyed that one.